Welcome to Washington in Focus Daily. It is Friday, July 31st, 2026. I'm Carlene Johnson, the Center Square, Washington's state government reporter. And in today's episode, it is the first day on the job for new interim Seattle Police Chief Andre Sayles, as Chief Shawn Barnes is now former Chief Shawn Barnes. Mayor Katie Wilson today faced a room full of insistent reporters who were determined to get some answers. Our own Seattle reporter, Randy Diamond, was also there. So, what was her issue really with Chief Barnes? Why did she want him out? How about the severance package? A lot of questions, very few details were provided in that press conference today, but we're going to share part of that with you. Then, an exclusive interview with Seattle Police Officers Guild President Kent Liu and his reaction to the resignation, the forced outing of Chief Barnes this week. What does he really think about that? An interesting insight from him. He thinks potentially this whole week has just provided the mayor with an opportunity to shove out a chief that she already wanted to part ways with. Then Tuesday, August the 4th, is the primary election. One of the biggest fields of candidates is in the 4th Congressional District. That's that large swath of central Washington that really goes from the Canadian border all the way down to Oregon, including Yakima and the Tri-Cities. And that's the district. We've talked about this in previous episodes where a couple of the top fundraising Republicans have been fighting over who really has the Trump endorsement. Then there's a Democrat likely to advance, maybe even be the top vote getter after Tuesday because of so many other Republicans running and those votes being splintered off. But today, a conversation with Matt Banky, the Republican senator who gave up his seat so he could run for Congress. Hasn't raised a lot of money, but he thinks that he may well advance after Tuesday's primary. So that's what's coming up in today's episode. So Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson at a press conference at 11 o'clock on this Friday morning said she is fully beginning with some urgency the search for a new police chief. In the meantime, with Thursday's resignation of Shawn Barnes, it is Deputy Chief Andre Sayles taking the role of interim police chief. He's from Wisconsin, a veteran taking the helm during a pretty tumultuous time, though, for the department. And today, in that packed press conference at City Hall, you had reporters pressing for some more details about the shooting. This all goes back to last Sunday evening as the Bite of Seattle was winding down. We had a shootout between a couple of gang members, 15-year-olds in custody, 19-year-old fellow apparent gang member is dead, and several innocent bystanders who were injured. So many questions pressed today from reporters as to why in the heck did it take 5 hours from the time of the shooting to have the initial press conference. Did not get a lot of specifics other than I heard the buzzwords of miscommunication, some failures, some promises to do things different in the future. And then again, a lot of questions to the mayor today. Okay, really, why did you force the chief out? Was it that it came out this week that he's often out of town? Was it the fact that he was out of town when this happened? Was it that kind of embarrassing exchange with a reporter? He kind of got in the guy's face when he was pressing, like, hey, why are you out of town all the time? You probably saw some of that earlier this week. So what really was it? Well, not a lot of answers specifically from the mayor, but she said it wasn't just about any of those issues. There was apparently more involved here. So my colleague Randy Diamond, who covers Seattle for us at the Center Square, Washington, attended that press conference today. And so here's part of that exchange with the mayor and the new interim police chief.
I think there's a lot of information out there that can suggest to people the reasons why this decision was made. What I'm saying is that there were multiple factors. The events of Sunday certainly played into it, and I think we've discussed some of the gaps and lapses that happened. And again, my decision here is based on what I believe is going to be best for this department and for the city moving forward.
So you had about your process and how you're going to be working with the mayor here. It sounds like there's some concerns that.
Yes, I think the biggest thing is, first, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Chief Barnes and I are friends. We will remain friends. I had the opportunity to come over with him from Wisconsin to our work that we did together. And also my friend and colleague, Yvonne Underwood, we've known for several years, had a role with me coming in here. I think this morning when I had a meeting with the mayor, some of the things that we're going to do as a police department is to be very proactive. If you look at some of my statistics from when I was in Beloit, Wisconsin, we were a very proactive police department, identifying the individuals that are causing the gun violence and the gang problems in that city. And we're going to identify them here in Seattle, and we're going to put an effort, a concerted effort, into identifying those individuals, making the appropriate arrests, and sending them over to King County Prosecutor's Office.
Now, my colleague Randy did specifically ask the mayor, and I think he was the only reporter to ask details about the severance package, the golden parachute, if you will, whatever the terms of the deal were to get Shawn Barnes to agree to submit his resignation on Thursday. And she said she was not going to provide any of those details at this point. We've already submitted public records requests, so we will eventually, I don't know if they'll drag their feet on this or just be willing to provide those details. Did he get a payout just for the rest of the year? He's only 7 months into the first year of what was going to be a 3-year contract. Did they pay out the whole contract at $360,000 a year? Did he get something else? Lots of questions out there that remain to be answered. And so now we have this new interim police chief, and a national search begins for a new chief. If anybody wants to come and lead this department at kind of an embarrassing time for the city. No, not an embarrassment on the Seattle Police Department itself. Some of those guys provided some heroism after the shooting on Sunday evening. And so we're going to get into that now in this second segment of Washington in Focus Daily, because I had a conversation just this morning with Seattle Police Guild President Kent Liu. And he told me the chaotic events this week may have, in his opinion, presented an opportunity for Mayor Katie Wilson to force Chief Barnes to submit his resignation. That's his sense. He believes that the mayor already wanted the chief out, and everything that happened this week just kind of helped that along.
I wonder. I think the mayor maybe wanted him out for a bit. I'm not totally sure on that. I think that was partly his impression. So I think that this, I don't know, presented an opportunity for the mayor's office potentially. Um, I think it was a little. I felt it was a little rushed, and I know that that outburst with that other reporter, right, that didn't help obviously. The optics of that weren't good. I mean, I think we all have our moments, right, where we don't shine the way we want to. But with the week we've had, I do think it was a bit rushed. So I was a little disappointed and I think everyone was in the communication. Jumping from the press conference and then to yesterday. I don't think that probably helped the mayor's office either.
So SPOG President Liu says he had a good working relationship and liked Chief Barnes. He says he also likes Andre Sales, the interim police chief. And he did mention being worried that they may not get the most qualified candidates in a national search from across the country wanting to come here, given the kind of embarrassing week that the city has had on the national stage. I've seen lots of reports. I think the New York Times wrote up a couple of pieces. It's been all over Fox and CNN, just kind of how the city may have fumbled its initial response. And then, of course, the bad look on the chief that followed. But he also shared with all of those sort of failures of the city's response getting all the attention. Not much attention was paid to the incredible police work that was displayed after that shooting at the Bite of Seattle on Sunday evening.
I was upset that got overshadowed. Um, there are incidents like that, active shooters or critical incidents, where people do become quite critical of the department and really police officers and their response, and that becomes the real focus. Here, we had such a fantastic response that it got quickly overshadowed by a delayed press conference, and it really wasn't talked about. which is a shining example to how well I think we've handled that situation as far as officers and my members responding to that scene. Yeah, it was fantastic. So that was a little bit of a disappointment, but we're working on that. I'm trying to keep that top of mind for people, so I appreciate the question. But yeah, officers, everybody there, I mean, every video you see, officers are running towards gunfire with complete disregard for their own safety, immediate first aid response, saving the lives they could save. It was really, really unfortunate.
Now, additionally, the Downtown Seattle Association is not at all pleased that Shawn Barnes has been forced to resign. They felt he was making a dent in some serious public safety issues downtown. And CEO for the Downtown Seattle Association, John Scholes, sent this email to the Center Square. We'll put this up for you. He said, Seattle had been on a positive course on public safety with police hiring trending up and crime trending down, particularly in the downtown core. It's imperative rather the next chief of police is able to maintain progress that's been made and instill confidence in our community. Again, that from DSA President, CEO John Scholes. And then he cited some data in support of this with incidents of violent crime being down. He says in Sector M, there were 104 violent crime incidents between January and June of this year. And in January, June last year, that number was 131. So things they felt really trending in the right direction as far as public safety goes under former Chief Barnes. So they're disappointed with the mayor's decision. But nonetheless, we have a new interim chief and the national search begins. I'm guessing the interim chief will also be in the field of potential candidates to remain on in that position. Now, finally, as Central Washington voters and the rest of us here in Washington finish filling out our ballots this weekend, if we've yet to do so, next Tuesday, August the 4th, is the final day to get those primary ballots back in. And we've spent a lot of time talking about the contest in Central Washington where Dan Newhouse is not seeking reelection. So that opened up a big, wide field of candidates, I think 10 in all, many of them Republicans and independents and at least one Democrat running. And we've talked about some of the top fundraisers for the Republican field being Amanda McKinney and Jared Sessler. But because so many Republicans are running in this very red district, I think it's an R+10 district, meaning, you know, Trump carries the district and they anticipate it will certainly be a Republican moving in to take that seat being vacated by Congressman Newhouse. But one of the other candidates is Matt Behnke, a Republican, a senator who has given up that Senate seat to run for this seat in Congress. And he is confident, he told me in an interview this week, that he will advance after the primary. Remember, our primary is a top two, so only the top two vote getters will advance. And given the fact that we've got so many Republicans running, it's likely the people that support Amanda McKinney or Jared Sessler or Matt Behnke are going to be divided up, right? Each of those will just get a little piece of the Republican vote in that district. And the Democrat, John Dureski, believes that he may, in fact, end up being the top vote getter in that contest. But I want to share some of my conversation this week with Matt Behnke, who believes that he is the most qualified candidate and he's confident he will be advancing after Tuesday.
I am very optimistic. Our numbers are showing whether it's moderate Democrats to independents, they're coming our way. Whether it's the hardcore right, I may lose some of those MAGA votes because the Trump endorsement and others they're fighting over. And you mentioned whether it's Amanda or Jared are still kind of doing that piece. I still go back to the part about governing. I think it resonates with people of the numbers of the endorsements I have locally from Doc Hastings, former congressman, strong ag economy support with the endorsements I have up and down, as well as in the 4th district. I think I have 99% of all the senators in the House of Representatives members that I've worked with. And that shows a lot to people of your work ethic, the dedication, the experience, reaching across the aisle. We shared the photos and the videos from the resolution presented during the Senate this last session. And a lot of people got to hear other people from Senator Braun and others across the state who represent a big swath of what my work meant to our community in the 8th district and bringing that to the 4th. And I think that matters a lot.
So I just checked the Secretary of State ballot return statistics page right before recording this episode of Washington in Focus Daily. And as of Thursday night, only 13.67% of ballots had been returned. So as you see, that's of 5.14 million registered voters in the state of Washington. Only 703,000 ballots had been returned as of last night. So we have a ways to go these last final days. That's when a flood of ballots will be coming in. I know a lot of people wait until the last day, maybe this last weekend, before you've got time to fill those ballots out and get them back in. So hopefully people are paying attention. It's an extremely important primary. I've heard a lot of pundits say it's the most important primary in Washington state history. Remember, we have 5 Supreme Court positions, and those candidate pools are also being narrowed down to just the top 2 vote getters. So it is an important primary. Hopefully, you'll take the time, if you have not had time thus far, to take that opportunity to get those ballots filled out and mailed back in ahead of Tuesday, August the 4th. That's the deadline for our primary. So that's it for today's episode of Washington in Focus Daily for a Friday, the last day of the month. It's already August tomorrow. Hope you're enjoying this beautiful sunny day, and we'll get some time to relax and unwind and spend time with family and friends this weekend. We'll see you again on Monday.